Shalom and welcome to Mitzvah Torah. This year is entitled Diagnosing Presidents or Anyone. January 15th, 2018, Alan Dershowitz writes an article, Don't Diagnose Trump. He's responding to those who in 2017, psychiatrists and others, that diagnosed Trump with various illnesses and other conditions. Some suggesting that he needs to be checked in involuntarily to a mental hospital. He suffers from narcissism and a whole list of things. And Dershowitz says this actually goes back 50 years. He says in the 60s, after Kennedy was assassinated, then you had the Goldwater Johnson presidential election. And he said, Fact magazine came out quoting 50 psychiatrists saying that Goldwater was unfit to go ahead and run the country. And that hurt his chances for presidency. And Johnson went on to win. And Goldwater went on to have a wonderful political career, according to Dershowitz, where he showed no signs of mental incompetence. And the fact is, to go ahead and diagnose a person, even if you're a professional, but without meeting the person, just seeing him on the stage, and now there's a diagnosis, it's very, very dangerous. Dershowitz says this, and I wholeheartedly agree. And I go even further. I say that in this day and age, where there's so many more categories and labels that we didn't have years ago, there's a leaning to categorize people and diagnose people. We didn't have ADD, ADHD generations ago. We had autism, but we didn't have a whole spectrum. We didn't talk about a whole spectrum a few generations ago. Asperger's. And because there's so many more labels, we have a leaning, and in my opinion, often, not always, an irrational leaning to categorize. And a person will go ahead and see a child not focusing so well in class. So two things often happen. A, he's diagnosed ADD, ADHD. And then B, of course, is a whole process of how he needs to be drugged up and cured. Or sometimes that may be the approach. But in my opinion, sometimes it's premature. And the label is quick. And the treatment is quick as well. And I wonder if sometimes we just need to categorize. Someone's not making eye contact. Must be he's on the spectrum. Someone's socially a bit different, awkward. Must be on the spectrum. Years ago, we would say about someone who's socially awkward, he's socially awkward. That's it. And maybe he'll grow out of it. Maybe we could guide him. But now, that's it. He's labeled. So I'm just taking Alan Dershowitz's point and going further. He was complaining about psychiatrists diagnosing presidential candidates then or now without meeting them. I'm saying even when the laymen or teachers and even professionals meet people today, still, when it's something with this hard science, chas v'shalom, cancer, strep, and it's laboratory proven, that's one thing. But when it's an analysis and it's not black and white, I think it should be taken with the proper proportion. Maybe it should be looked into having a second opinion. Maybe challenging the diagnosis, or accepting diagnosis but challenging the course of treatment, especially if right away the first course of treatment is a chemical one. The bottom line is we have to just make sure that we come to conclusions based on objective, rational, and clear thinking. And maybe, I am not saying chas v'shalom, take a psychiatrist's analysis and throw it out. I'm not saying that at all, chas v'shalom, but maybe look into it. Get second opinions, and not right away accept a quick diagnosis. Sometimes it's crucial to get a diagnosis out, and we have to take it in and go with it, and that will be the course of treatment based on the diagnosis. But sometimes we have to analyze and see, was it a bit premature and a bit quick and unnecessary, possibly. It's a delicate area because it's not an area that we should just go ahead and ignore. I'm just saying to approach with caution. Shalom.